Right, so something I just want to add to the other videos that I've done, which were suggested by my youngest daughter that I should do a video, put it on thing, which I did. And it's nowhere near in the category of videos you watch on YouTube, because there's not really that many people that are that interested, you know. So I'll leave it at that. But one of the things that has bothered me is, and I'll start with, there's a few things, but I'll start with the way I dealt with my cancer. So I watched a lot of Thomas Seyfried, and he's probably going to be not very happy. I don't know, seems like a nice bloke, but I'm in UK, he's in America. I could get hold of a certain tablet, mebendazole. I kind of heard what he'd said. He were pulsing the taking of these, I think he calls them dons or whatever. But I'd also watched a lot of Dave Mack on the No Carb Life. I watch 2 of them a day. They're just stories about people who's healed themselves. There's a lot of cancer stories in that. There's lots of MS stories and epileptic fit stories and diabetes stories and blah 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 blah. There's lots of people who healed themselves with food. So I thought I'm gonna like combine the 2. So I could only get hold of mebendazole, and whether he thinks that's a good idea or not, I don't know. He's the expert. I just kind of heard something, read something, looked at a few things. We're on PubMed a lot, looking at different things. Watched a lot of Dr. John Campbell, great bloke. And I just got myself a little bit of a plan together on what I was going to do when I did find out I'd got cancer. But the 2 main things were the mebendazole tablets, and I took 2 100 milligrams of them every day throughout, from being told I've got lung cancer to having no cancers. The food was very, very important, because the food cured loads of other stuff. Got me back to me proper weight. I was 15.5 stone, and I went back to me proper body weight, which is 12.5 stone, in less than 3 months. So just a bit of a recap. Professor Seyfried sounds like a fantastic bloke. Thumbs up, great. I wish we could get, I said at the end of one of my videos, why aren't we giving like these worming solutions out, because obviously they're blocking the glucose pathway to cancers in some way, shape or form. Dr. John Campbell talks about they stop the cancer cells from dividing and becoming more. The food is just everything. The food's everything. And I've got a daughter who's vegetarian, and to be fair, we agree on the animal welfare to the highest level. We both agree on animal welfare. and how animals are treated. I've no desire for animals to be treated in a bad way, but I used to watch a lot at Discovery Channel, and on this planet everything eats everything else. Everything that's alive eats everything else that's alive. You know, so from a survivor point of view, which is what I am, I'm a survivor, I don't draw the line at what I eat. I just eat what men and women have always eaten. And there is vegetables, fruits and stuff in that, but they'll have been seasonal. So it'll have been something, yeah, in a certain season, and rest of the time you would have... Well, I always have this thing is, you left your cave, you went out and tried to kill something and drag it back to cave. Or you left your cave, you went out and tried to kill something and it dragged you off. So either way, somebody was eating that day, or something was eating that day. And I've no problem with that at all, because that's the way we've always eaten. And I eat 95% meat, and I've done since I got the diagnosis. And anybody who's seen the other videos will know what happened is I got told I got cancer. I'd done a lot of mad research before that for some crazy weird reason, and kind of had a lot of knowledge in my head, but I didn't need it then. And then all of a sudden I got cancer, and then all of a sudden I've got this knowledge, and I'm thinking, right, get a plan, and do something to survive it. And that's, unless you're going to give up, which I don't suggest, because there's people who love and care about you, and although it's a dark place to be, there is things you can do to help yourself. Now, I never got round to a point where I had any treatment, because I just, as soon as they said I'd got cancer, I just went, right, bang, this is what I'm going to do, based on all that weird research I did that I had no idea, I hadn't got a clue why we're doing it, but I did it. And then I filled my head with all this stuff before I even had anything to do with knowing I'd got cancer. I started feeling badly after that, and then it went from there to another place to another place. But you'd have to watch the videos for that, because I don't want to go through all the thing again. But I've had people who said to me, and one of the biggest troubling things I've had said to me is, well, it worked for you. Well, yeah, it did work for me, but I hadn't got any idea that it was going to work for me. I'd done all that research and everything, and I'd got this kind of plan in my head, and I thought, right, I'm going to do that, because I don't want to get on the early bus and leave my family. So then people have been saying to me, well, it worked for you. Well, I didn't know that, but it did. So what are you saying? It worked for me, but it might not work for you. Well, it might work for you. Do you understand? It's what makes you think it would just work for me, but it might not work for you. And all it is you take a little worming tablet, and don't do any of this on my sessor. Do that research that I did. Check things out. I just took a little worming tablet and I changed my diet to mostly meat, which cut down all the sugars and all the carbs and everything like that. And I stuck to it, strictly stuck to it. And I added a few other things, some soursop teas and mullein teas and green teas. Ate some raw cabbage and some raw broccoli every day, just for the sulforaphane. But the thing that somebody would say to you that it worked for you but it might not work for me is frustrating, because this thing's gonna kill you. Now I always think to myself, you know, if you're gonna try and tackle something, have everything in your toolbox that you can put in there. Don't just think, well, I'll try this, and then if that don't work, I'll try that, and then if that don't work, I'll try another thing, because time is passing. So what I did is I had a big bunch of things that I thought were going to work. He's not going to like it, but the Thomas Seyfried protocol of cutting down all the sugars and carbs. And I like the fact that he says he likes jelly donuts. That's brilliant. Good for him. Yeah, I like that. But he has a certain set of research protocols that is sort of the making up new ways of dealing with cancer. And I took some of those things, because I'm not in America, I'm in England. I took some of those things and I made a plan up myself, simply out of survival mode. Now he might not agree with what I did, and I'm sure he won't. I don't think he's gonna say, "Yeah, you did that bang on." No, obviously not. But what I did is I took some of his research theories and implemented them in a way that I could do, that I thought, right, when the lady said you've got like between 1 and 3 years at the way that they'd spread, and I thought, I'm just gonna get everything I know together and smash this thing. I'm gonna hit it with everything I think that is good for me. And it worked. It worked. So the level of frustration when somebody says, well, it worked for you, just think about what you're saying. It worked for me. I mean, we're all the same. This body runs the same way your body runs, and we all have slightly different. I've got one ear lower than other and one leg shorter than other, and I'm sure other people have got other things. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the internal runnings of yourself, you know, the mitochondria and the energy and the ATPs and all this. It's all the same, and you either run on sugars and glucose or you run on fatty acids and ketones. I don't. Look, it's not my job to be scientific, but I'm just saying, don't appreciate people coming and saying, well, it worked for you. We're all the same. And everybody said, well, all the cancers are different. Well, not according to Thomas Seyfried. There's a massive amount of cancers that are the same sort of protocol. They run the same way. So I put his sort of worming medication things with the reduction in carbs and sugar, and I took some of the Dr. John Campbell research on the repurposing of worm meds, and I combined that with the diet, and I added the green teas, and I just did everything I could all at once. And I've had a couple of people say to me since, well, which one of them things actually got rid of the cancer? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it was the combination of all of them is more likely. So there's no short, quick step way out of this. I just hit it with everything that I knew, and it worked. So nobody can ask me which one of those things did you do that actually worked. I don't know. I put the worming medications and the food at the top, because the food just, oh man, I just ate like everybody else. I'm a Taurus. I can eat anything. I generally just could eat near enough anything. My wife always says to me, it don't matter what I put in front of you. If I cook for you, you will eat everything. And it's because I'm from a different generation. I don't like wasting food. People waste food, and it's criminal to me. And I go back a bit because, like I said, it's like meat heavy. It's like 95% meat, and no potatoes, no pastas, no rices, no spaghettis, no bread, no fruit, very little bit of vegetables, the broccoli and the cabbage, loads of eggs. I was eating loads of eggs, loads of meat, and I felt on fire. Like 20 years younger. Everything, all backaches went, the migraines went, the joint pains went, the arthritis went. Just felt incredible by eating that way. And like I said, I've got a daughter who's a vegetarian, and we agree on the animal thing. And I respect what she wants to do. I know, just from the research that I've been looking at, and I still do it now. I watch a Dave Mack No Carb Life interview at least twice a day. So I'll watch 2 of those interviews a day, and they're from all different people. They're just the things that I haven't got them ailments, but at some point in my life I may have those ailments, and I know that the carnivore diet or the meat heavy, name things again, and everybody wants to put a name on something, and I've said it before, you ate that so you can't be that, you ate that so you can't be that. Doesn't matter. It matters, but it doesn't matter if you want to put a name to it. There's no good putting a name tag on something if it's there to heal you. It's just more ketovore and carnivore. That's all I'm going to say. I would be 100% carnivore if I didn't need the bits of vegetables for the sulforaphane, and the walnuts, very good for your macadamia nuts. The biggest thing I found is fat runs hormones. Not a scientist, construction worker. Don't quote me on any of this. In my mind, and my bits are like learning things, fat runs hormones. Fat is key to healing. Fat is they say a third fat and 2/3 meat. Well, I'm cooking butter, we're cooking beef tallow, we're cooking lard again, which we hadn't done since I were younger. And there's a reason for that, is because they've convinced us all that we should be eating seed oils. They went straight away. So a bit of a roundup and a bit of a, like, it's not too late to try anything. I don't care what stage you are with your cancer. It's not too late. You could be in a hospice getting end of life care. Try something. Jesus, try something. If your options are out, or you've still got some options left, start whatever they're doing for you. And I had a bit of an issue with what they wanted to do with me, but this is not in any way any medical advice. I'm not telling anybody to do anything. I'm just saying that I did a lot of research, and then things started becoming, in my mind, obvious to me. So I made a plan out of that. But whatever stage you are in your cancer thing, it's not too late. You know, it's people say, well, it's spread. Mine had spread. It's gone to this part of the body, and it's gone to this. Mine had. I started off with one, ended up with a bunch, and then mine had spread. So saying it's spread and it's too late now is wrong. Get on it. Start doing something. Because at the end of the day, you either take what they're doing for you and you add your own bits and bats and your own plan, or you submit. And I'm not from that kind of way of thinking. I'm not giving up. I don't give up. Everybody says, you never give up. No, I don't. I don't give up. And when I got this diagnosis and they said, oh, you've got cancer, not only did I not give up, I went into battle mode. I started going, right, this is what I'm going to do. Right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I need my health back. So I started taking things that were making me more healthy, as well as things that were, in my mind, fighting the cancer. Anyway, it's all in the other videos, but don't assume it's too late. Don't say to me, well, it worked for you. Because we're all the same. We all look different. We all have different places we come from, but we're all the same. So try things, don't give up. Try things and see if you can fix yourself. You're never going to know unless you try. And I always think to myself, if touch wood, if anything happened to any of my family, and it already has, and I've done my best to say, look, everything I did has got no harmful effects on you. You change your diet, you have some green teas. Jesus, how many people drink green tea? It's not like that green tea is going to hurt you. The worming meds that I took, they give them to 2-year-olds onwards. So you can give them to babies. And like I say, I had no side effects. I didn't read of any side effects. I didn't know there were no research saying there were any. I think they gave 3 billion doses out of this certain brand, and they had 36 adverse events where people felt queasy. Jesus, if you're just going to feel queasy a bit, get all you send. The other option is you're going to be dead. So I don't. Just, there's things you can do, and you can just leave it completely up to other people if you want. You can just say, look, these people know best. I'm just going to leave it to them. And I hope everything works out for you. I really do. I mean, these things I've been putting on here. The kids said, put your story on, Dad. And I've just been thinking to myself, if it just helps one person, some part of it just helps one person, then fantastic. But I don't know who it's going to help, because I don't know what frame of mind you're in. I just know that when all this were going off, I was like, no, I'm not having that. No, I'm not. No, not getting on that early bus. Nobody's going to tell me I've got to leave my family. I'm not going. That's it. I'm done. I'm just going to kick off now in a big way, and like self-healing, and see if I can fix everything. And it worked out. So that's my mindset. I don't know what everybody's mindset's like. Some people, they say, well, I couldn't eat that because I don't like that. Well, I don't give a shit if you don't like something. If that thing can help you, and you go, well, I might not take that because I don't like that. I don't like eating that thing. What are you, daft? It's not a joy thing. It's not like, nobody's asking you to start liking stuff. I were eating broccoli and cabbage at 6 o'clock in the morning because I had to go to work, and I'd have no opportunity through the day to get that sulforaphane enzyme in me. So I were eating that at 6 o'clock. You want to try eating broccoli and cabbage at 6 o'clock in the morning? I mean, I were growing my own broccoli sprouts, and they're like cress, and I were eating the bits in my teeth till dinner time. Not the most pleasantest of things, by far. But it didn't matter that I didn't like them. They were necessary. You've got to make the distinction between things you like and things you need. It's like, and I appreciate my daughter doesn't like eating meat, and I love the fact that she's got some principles. It's good. But it's her way. But I would be trying to encourage her to eat mostly meat if anything happened to her, and I would with any of my family. My wife knows this, because if anything happened to my wife, touch wood cancer wise, she would be on the carnivore diet. She almost is anyway. So it weren't a choice thing. I have this funny story. It's like, if to cure my cancers meant I had to eat marshmallows. I'd be the marshmallow king. I didn't pick what it were. I just did the research and it turned out to be that. And I just went, right, that's it then. That's what I'm doing. Like it or not, that's what I'm doing. Because I want to survive. So I'm just saying, it's a bit disappointing when people say, well, it worked for you. And it's a little bit disappointing when people say, well, I don't really like that. Yeah, I don't really like that, right? There's lots of stuff I don't like. But I just get on with things, you know. So apologies to Thomas Seafood if he ever sees this, which I doubt. But it were kind of your ideas. Dr. John Campbell, it were kind of your talk on the repurposing of worm meds. The diet thing, if anybody gets chance, watch the No Carb Life podcast with Dave Mack. Because whatever ailment you've got, whatever problem you've got, he's covered it. And they've healed themselves by going carnivore. And they can tell you all the slip-ups they had and the little bits that they didn't do. And then when they realised and they got it all in order and they've all like properly carnivore and at best ketovore and at worst just carrying on eating again after they'd healed themselves a bit, the way they used to heal, and then fell back into that problem situation. But they are one of the best podcasts. Dave does a great job. I came across them I was looking at a lot of carnivore stuff, and obviously that's it, the algorithms, you know what I mean? They put you in the lane of where you want to look. And Dave Mack came up in that, and I watched a few of them, and I thought, you know, they're not all to do with cancers. There is cancer stories, and they're good cancer stories and all, and they're not all to do with cancer. They're to do with everything. But there's such a easy watch. Dave does a great job. He just lets people talk. He asks the obvious questions, which is great. You know, how many times a day do you eat? How did you find carnivore? That's the best one. Always starts with that. And everybody's got a reason that they've either stumbled across it or they looked for it. There's some reason for it. And it's just easy listening. I mean, I put them on in my car and let it come through speakers, and I just drive and listen. And I do it in work van on way to jobs, because I work quite a long way away a lot of time from where I'm based. And I just listen to them. The good stories, because the stories of people who some people have spent most of their life trying to cure things and then gone carnivore and it's gone. It's fantastic. So that's what I do, and that's what I did. And I just wanted to put this little extra thing on, and I might do some others, I don't know. My wife works a lot of hours, and I started doing paintings but I did them way before I got cancer. And I often think there's some fate issue to all this. It's like, I got up one morning and I said to my wife, I want to do paintings. Now I'm a road worker. I work on civil side. I build roads and paths and car parks and things like that. It's physical, heavy work and that lot. And she like just looked at me, gone out as if to say, "You want to do what?" But I do paintings. I paint on a Saturday morning. The house is quiet. The dog's still asleep. She's gone to work. She's away. She's going to be gone 12 hours, and I kind of like think, because I always get up early. I'm an early person, and I think I'll do a painting. And I just said I want to do some paintings and that lot. So they've been getting better and that lot, but I'm not showing any like paintings on here. I just give them to friends and family. And in case any of them watch this, if I don't see my painting hung on your wall, I reserve the right to reclaim it. So if you took the painting, get it up. So there's some kind of fate thing to it. It was as if I were meant to leave something. Now that might sound weird, a little bit dark, I don't know. But I didn't really know why I wanted to do paintings. I didn't really know why I wanted to do all that research. But I did it way before I got cancer, when somebody else's wife, a friend of mine, my best friend, his wife had some little bit of a scare. And I had no idea, right? But I just thought, just look at this stuff. And don't know why. So there's some kind of fate thing to it. Like I was led to do that because, like the paintings, I always think I started doing the paintings way before any of this stuff happened. I've been doing them like a few years now, 3 years, 4 years maybe. But imagine if it didn't work for me and I passed away, there'd be some paintings left there. Now that's strange. Because I had no idea why I wanted to do paintings in the first place. And then you get to the research bit and looking at studies, and obviously you go on PubMed and there's a search box, and if you go on PubMed you can put in whatever you want to search for, and it'll come up with any studies and research that you wouldn't normally know about, because they're not, I mean, we're not I'm not a medical person. None of this is medical advice. I'm just a construction worker who got unlucky, had a problem, and fortunately enough had enough about me to think I need to carry on doing what I would doing, the weird research thing, and implementing it. But them kind of medical things, I would know naught about them. And I'm just going to say this now. Everything that the hospital, they said, you can eat what you want. You can just eat what you want. It doesn't really affect the cancers. Well, that bugged me, that, because everything I'd kind of researched and learned in that weird time when I was doing it for no reason at all, but turned out to be for every reason. Everything they told me were the opposite of what I'd learned. And I didn't do what they told me to do. I just did the exact opposite. So they said eat loads of fruits, which are full of, fructose. And I didn't eat any fruit. And they said eat what you want, and I just ate strictly, like mostly 99% carnivore. So I basically did the opposite of what they said. So it's funny how that worked out, because they said it in such a way and all that, yeah, it doesn't affect it at all. Doesn't affect it at all. And I walked through hospital, and I've said this in another video, but I walked through hospital and all food trays are full of junk food. The dessert bits, it's just, and then you walk into hospital and there's a big thing there with all chocolate bars and cans of pop. It's all sticky toffee puddings, and I apple crumbles and custards and cans of pop and chocolate bars and what kind? I don't know. Not my issue. I can't. I don't know why the hospital would be full of those kinds of foods. And they probably think they're giving you an healthy option if they're giving you a. I mean, if you've got cancer and you believe, like I believe, that it's all glucose based and fed, and instead of you can, your cells can run on ketones and fatty acids, or they can run on glucose and sugars. And don't quote me on this. Don't be a scientific person coming and telling me, "Hey mate, you were wrong." Look, it doesn't matter to me. I'm just saying this is my story about what happened with me, and this is where I was thinking about it. So I'm just saying, if it's like, if you're in there getting cancer treatment, and then they're treating you with some ice cream, or they're giving you a big bowl of lasagna or something like that with plenty of vegetables on, or they're saying, "Do you want a can of pop?" Anyway, so I just did this little particular one because I have had people say, "Well, I think it's too late for me," and that. No, it isn't. Well, it worked for you. Well, it might work for you, you idiot. Just don't be that way with yourself. Don't say, "Oh, you know." I just thought I'm just going to do everything, and so if anybody sees this and they're about to ask me which thing cleared your cancer, I don't know. I did them all. So I'm going to leave it at that. I just hope that somebody once said to me, they said, "Oh well, if I got cancer, I'd probably just think it were my calling, my time." I can't say out about that. If you just, my life's been a lot of challenges, and I've faced every challenge. I've fought for things. I've suffered to better myself. I've tried to do the best I can. I haven't given up. And I'm not gonna start giving up. But when somebody says, "Well, I just think it's my calling and it's my time," I see that as giving up. But it doesn't matter to me what anybody does, because it's a personal choice. I'm just saying, I won't do that. I won't give up. I'd fight. And I think everybody should fight. But like I say, I have heard that said to me, and I just thought to myself, why? Why would you do that? You've got people who love you and people who care about you and people who need you. Most people don't know how much they're needed. See, kids said, like, "Oh, you did amazing, Dad," and you healed yourself and that. But I did it for them. I did it for my children, because I don't want them to be without me, and I don't want to not be here for them. And I will fight to stay for my children and for my wife. So that's a little bit deep, isn't it? But that's just the way I think. I'm just saying, if you're gonna give up, give up. But I don't quit stuff. I'm not that way inclined. So I think that's what helped me in a lot of ways, is that if that stuff I didn't work for me, not work for me. I don't want to hear that. If that stuff didn't work for me, I'd be straight on with some next stuff, and I'd be straight on with some next stuff. But I bunched everything that I thought I knew into one big attack plan and just did it all. So I'm going to leave it there, but don't give up. Don't think it's too late. Don't think it just works for some people and it might not work for you, because how do you know? How do you know? Until you try it, how do you know? And if you're in a bad place where you're not, you can't, if you're in a bad place, anything's worth trying. And none of this stuff is going to hurt you at all. The diet, how can a diet hurt you? When you sit down, I'm sat at a table now. When I sit down and eat, I decide what I eat. So make the choice and decide what you're going to eat. If you think that vegetables can cure you and you believe it, like I believe that with meat, and they could heal me, and the fats and everything in the meat, and if you believe that vegetables can do that, then when you sit down at night, sit down with a big plate of vegetables. I don't want to say it's going to work or it ain't going to work. I did what I did and it worked. But if you want to eat vegetables, and then just eat vegetables, but do something. Make the choice of what you're going to eat, because when I sit down at night and I eat, I decide what I'm eating. And if I've got some kind of plan in my head of what's going to heal me, then what I put in front of me is part of that plan. It's that plan. That's it. So, and be strict. Time is not your friend in these situations. You can't mess about and say, well, I'll do it in a month. Got a friend of mine's got diabetes, and he's got a problem regulating his blood sugar because of his insulin. They're giving him a medication to help him do that because he can't do it himself. But if he stopped eating all the things that were sugar or became sugar, which is just, I never knew this, but it's just about everything, except meats and stuff. And yeah. Go on, correct me if you want to. But your body makes its own sugar. So you're just loading it up with more sugar if you're eating all these pastas and potatoes and eating all this fruit, and you're basically loading your body up with sugar. So I said, like, why don't you just cut out all the carbs and the sugars? But I don't think he's gonna. I think he's just gonna carry on eating like he is. You see, that's the difference between me and somebody else. Is if I'd got a problem regulating my blood sugar, I would cut the sugars right down to next to nothing, like 0 if I could, and see what that did. Because it's alright being on medication for the rest of your life if that's what you want to do, but I don't take any medication. I'm almost 58. I don't plan on taking any medication. There's always a way to heal yourself if you bother to do it. the research and look into it and actually be strict and do the thing. So anyway, listen, I'm going to leave it all here, and there may be some other things coming up, because as people get more and more into things and tell you stuff, and they kind of like want you to listen to them and that lot. I might say something else about stuff, but as for now, I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay? So good luck and good health to everybody, and Mr. B signing out.